Welcome to Walk and Talk Wednesday with me, Java and Journeys with Jillian. How are you doing? I hope your week has been going well so far. As you all can see behind me, we have Muppet Vision, which is a fabulous attraction that will be going bye-bye really soon, which makes me sad. But I figured while we're here at Disney's Hollywood Studios, I would just start at this location and we were just going to wander around. Now, for those of you all who are new to my Walk and Talk Wednesday, welcome. This is essentially a very casual time for us to check out the views of Disney. Disney is basically in my backyard, y'all. And there's always something fun to look at, whether it's the people watching or just checking out some of the attractions and rides. It really takes your mind off of the actual exercise itself. So I'm like, why not have a good Walk and Talk Wednesday? And if you're able to get up out your seat, join me on this walk, do so. If not, if you're like, listen, girl, I've been at work all day or I'm busy, or depending on where you live in the world, maybe you're at work right now and you just want to listen in, maybe drop down in the chat. That's totally okay too, y'all. I am all about no stress, no muss, no fuss. So let's go ahead and get into our walk. Now, if you are able to come over to Hollywood Studios anytime soon, I highly recommend getting in your last and final visits at Muppet Vision. It is so sad that that's going away. And for those of you all who have maybe seen some of my prior walk and talks, I personally feel like Disney has done the Muppets dirty. And what I mean by that is that I feel like the Muppets are just pure fun and full of joy. And sometimes I feel as if they didn't really get enough attention. When Jim Henson was alive, there was a lot more momentum in terms of ingratiating the Muppets within Magic Kingdom and here at Hollywood Studios. But ever since Jim Henson's passes, which was many years ago, his passing, I feel like they kind of have dropped the ball because they don't have that pressure so much now. This is just me, right? I could be dead ass wrong. I'm not a part of Disney operations, but as someone that's just a mere spectator and a lover of Disney, this is just what I'm assuming happened, because I'm like, girl, why aren't y'all doing more with the Muppets? So hopefully, even though they're shutting down the whole kind of Muppet area over time, they will figure out another way of bringing the Muppets back to the Disney experience and continuously bringing them to our hearts. Before we really get started into the topic, as a part of Walk and Talk Wednesday, I always have a topic to ground our little kiki and our chats on. And before we get into the topic of Lizzo, I want to just do a quick check-in. Hey, how are you doing? Hi, Gio Riley. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. And for those of you all who are new, drop down in the chat. Please say hello. Hi, Invisible Man. Hi, Tanae. How are you? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, everyone. How is everything going out there for you all? Y'all, I am like doing our little pre-check-in. I am feeling much better this week. The past couple of weeks have been really intense at work. For those of you all who may be new to my walk and talks or just new to my channel, I am not a full-time content creator. Now, one day, that's the dream, right? But your girl has bills to pay. So this is something that I just do on the side because I love it. I love being able to bring my experiences and my journeys to you all. And the past few weeks at work has been brutal. It's been very intense. I had some deadlines I had to meet. So it's been super stressful. And, you know, drop down in the comments, tell me how you all are doing. I know I've had so many moments before where, and I'm sure many of you all have felt this way, where things get so intense at work. Like, does it ever affect your sleeping? For me, I straight up for real have had the hardest time sleeping through the night just because of all the stress, right? Oh, thank you so much, Keyshawn. I try to be energetic for you all, right? Like, I am bringing you, this is the end of the day. And I will say, even through all the stress and the things that we all go through, right? Like, I think any moment in time, especially considering the state of the world, we're all going through something. We're just trying to make it. And so my hope to you all is to always come as my authentic self, because one thing I cannot stand are fake content creators that really aren't in it and don't have the heart for doing this kind of thing. And you know, it's like they start filming, the camera goes off, so to speak, and they all of a sudden look depressed or unhappy. Like, no, if I'm not feeling up to filming, you all just won't see me. and we'll have to take like a little mental health break. But I'm always going to try to bring that energy to you all, especially because, y'all, I am not working right now. So I am very happy to just be out and about and enjoy the sunshine and the privilege of being here at Disney. Like, I'm always going to try to bring that good energy. So I really hope that you all are doing well. Yes, it's so nice to see you too today. And I'm excited to have you all here with me. And we're going to get into the topic of Lizzo, right? So if you're a Lizzo fan, drop down in the comments, let me know. We are going to get into the full thing. I'm walking down some stairs right now. So y'all, if you have been paying attention to what's been happening with Lizzo, as many of you all know, she, or maybe you don't, she is going through like some legal issues. So she actually has dropped off of our radio streams, however you listen to your music. She's been offline for like the past couple of years. And a lot of that is because of this legal issue that she's in the middle of right now. And so many of you all, oh, how old am I? A lady never reveals her age. How old do you think I am today? Let me know how old you think I am. I'll let you know if you're hot or cold. Keep me posted. And let me know how old you are. You tell me first. But getting back to Lizzo, I'll tell you that because of her legal issues, she pretty much has been off our radar, right? So the last big thing in terms of like music that Lizzo came out with was a single for the Barbie soundtrack. I think you're 40. No, I am. Come on now. I am not 40. I'm close to 40 though. I am not 40. I am close to 40. I am 38, which is, I was actually, anytime I take a picture of myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm aging. You know how we all take pictures of ourselves when we're looking and it's like, oh my God, I am aging. Every time I take a picture of myself for my thumbnails, for the content creation stuff, I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting old. And I feel it every morning. I feel it every time I get up. But I'll tell you something that gives me some hope. And also, how dare I, y'all, I'm not even showing you the view of what I'm looking at. Let me show y'all, because I'm actually about to enter into the Toy Story area, which is like so cool and so cutely themed. If you're a fan of Toy Story, drop down in the likes and let me know. This is like, I think this area and the Star Wars land are the two best areas. But going back, like y'all, aging is no joke. It's like, I don't know, there's something that happens, and I don't even know if it's like from like your 20s to 30s, but I definitely think from your early 30s to mid 30s, and as you get closer to 40, where it's just like a switch flips and everything just feels like it hurts. Like, I'm like, what's happening? It's like, girl, you're aging. But let me tell you what gives me some faith and some hope. Granted, these are people with money, right? But SNL recently celebrated their 50th anniversary, and they had Cher performing. And Cher is like, I think in her 70s. Y'all, Cher looked so good. It was giving body yaddy yaddy. Cher looked absolutely amazing. And granted, she's a celebrity, so she can drop some coin, right, on her personal training, on any type of treatments, anything like that. But it just gave me some faith that, like, if you just take a little bit care of yourself, you too, maybe you won't exactly look like Cher, but maybe you could be Cher adjacent or Tina Turner adjacent, right? It is definitely all about self-care. And so I hope that as much as I'm telling this to you all, I am terrible at being consistent and practicing self-care, but it is something that I hope to work on over time. And also stress is such like a killer. Like I was just telling you all how it's been really hard for me to sleep at night, and stress will do that to you, and stress will age you too. So it's always great, like if you can figure out a way of managing and dealing with stress. And going back to like the topic, let me tell you all who I think has been working on her stress is Lizzo. So what I mean by that is, of course, and we're gonna This is Slinky Dog Dash. So we're going to head back around. We are not getting on Slinky Dog Dash. We are walking and talking. But it's been very clear that Lizzo has definitely been focusing on her mental health, on her physical health. And with all this legal issues that she's been having, you may be asking yourself, if you haven't been paying attention, like what kind of legal issue has she been caught up in? So basically what happened is that she is still in a lawsuit with 3 of her former dancers. And a lot of what they claim is just basically being in a hostile work environment. And I'm summing it up as that, but it's a lot of things. It's religious discrimination, some sexual harassment, like a lot of things. And also body shaming. And I remember when this case came out and when it was brought to the public, the legal issues she was in, this was like back in 2023. So it's almost been, I think this was around August. So it's been almost 2 years. But a lot of people were basically really laying into Lizzo. And I will say that I think that people wanted to find something to then justify like hating on her. There goes Buzz Lightyear in our walk. But I think people really wanted to figure out a way of just like justifying like some reason to hate her, because she is someone who's exuded body positivity, always about female empowerment. And so of course people really gravitated not on the hostile work environment, not on the sexual harassment accusations, but it was just more so on like, oh, Lizzo, like given her size, like how dare she body shame? And to me, I'm like, why is that the thing that we're getting fixated on? Like these women have very real accusations. And yes, like the body shaming is one part of it. But like, to me, there were more significant issues that were going on, especially when it came to like the hostile work environment and what was going on that contributed to that. Now, in terms of the legal drama that Lizzo has been caught up in, I really think that that derailed her. She, right around the time that all this was going on, that's when Barbie came out, and y'all, we're walking into a Star Wars land. This is the section that we're in right now, which is also very wonderfully themed at Hollywood Studios. But the thing that I thought was like super interesting about all of these accusations was just like what's going on. And so it really put her in this dark space. Like I was saying, the Barbie movie came out. She wasn't really able to do a lot of the promo or even focus on that, because that's when these accusations came out. And basically she refuted them, and she still to this day refutes them. And y'all, I will just tell you, if I were a part, I'm not, you know, a PR rep. I don't have the expertise in that area. But I will say that if I were, what I would have honestly recommended Lizzo do 2 years ago to not like take her offline is I would have recommended that old girl just cop to what was going on, apologize, and settled out of court, because it really completely derailed her. And Lizzo has said in recent interviews that I think the accusations she felt like were shocking for her. And she also felt like these were people that she trusted, and it put her in a very dark space, because she didn't think that the people that she worked closest with, that she considered as family, would do something like this. And y'all, we can separate the music from the actions of the person, I think, depending on what the actions are. I will say, like, do I believe that any of the accusations and allegations are true? I absolutely do. Like, listen, I'm a Black woman. I'm always going to be here to support Black women and Black people. But also, like, if you're wrong about something, you're wrong. I don't believe that her dancers would make up what happened in their experience at all. I don't think they would do that. And so I absolutely do think that what we have a problem of here is the separation of being professional versus hanging out with your friends. And y'all, I'm sure we have all been there where we've had moments at work where you feel like maybe some of your colleagues are testing you, or, you know, I hope that you haven't also experienced like a severe hostile work environment, but I say that we've all been there, right? Take one more look around this area, because I think this is like the coolest part of the land, of course. And drop down in the comments if you are a lover of Star Wars. I like Star Wars. I'm not like a part of the fan group. I'm not like ingratiated in the Star Wars culture, but I do have the admiration for the story, for the characters. So drop down in the comments if you're someone who loves Star Wars. And also, if you are just tuning in, welcome to Walk and Talk Wednesday, where our topic of focus is Lizzo. And right now, before we get into the new music, I'm walking through like some of the issues that has taken Lizzo offline for the past couple of years. But I do absolutely believe that what her dancers accused her of is grounded in some sense of truth. I think that, I also think that if she would have just taken that accountability, like what I mentioned, then this could have just gone away. I think what has made it worse is that she's doubled down. And I'm like, girl, like Lizzo, come on now. I don't think it takes a lot for people to speak up and speak out when it comes to the things that they experience. And maybe, it's one thing if it's one person and it's like, okay, well, maybe there was like a misunderstanding, right? But it's another thing when multiple people come out and they say, well, no, this was a very hostile work environment that she created. I also experienced religious discrimination, all sorts of other accusations that her former dancers really like leveled against her. And they even said in an interview, and this was probably like over a year ago, that they were disappointed that she seemed to double down. And so she's still caught up in this. So she's completely been offline for the past couple of years dealing with this ongoing court case. And in the meantime, as a lot of people have noticed about Lizzo, is that she has completely, I think, focused on her and her mental health. And she has been working out. She's been eating healthy. And I'm not saying this to make like assumptions, like this is what she has said. And it shows, right? Like Lizzo looks amazing. If you happen to have missed it, she recently performed on Saturday Night Live. I want to say this was like last Saturday. And her performance was incredible. She looked amazing. Her skin was glowing. Obviously, she's lost weight, but I've always thought that Lizzo was a beautiful person. Irregardless of her size, I thought that she was a beautiful person, but it is very clear. And this is the other thing before we get into the new music that I thought was interesting, was that a lot of people have also been, because I feel like people just want to have something to say. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. It's like, oh, Lizzo, you've been on Ozempic and you need to come out. And I'm like, y'all, let's put on our critical thinking caps for 2 seconds, right? If you, let's just say, take yourself out of the public eye for 2 years and you focus on your mental health and your wellness, you can drop a lot of weight. That is entirely possible. I don't know why. It feels as if anytime someone in the public eye like loses weight, the assumption's like, oh my God, they're on Ozempic or whatever. And I'm like, or they're rich and they can afford a private trainer. They can afford a personal chef. They can actually monitor their fitness and spend more time on that. They can do that. They're rich. And why is that any of your business? Y'all, this gets me to another side tangent while we're walking and talking at Disney's Hollywood Studios. That I sometimes think people go too far with wanting to know people's business. Tell me what you all think. Drop it in the comments. What I mean by that is, unless you are marketing yourself on being, let's just say, a fitness guru, you are really touting a specific lifestyle around weight and health. That is one thing. It's another when you're just out here. I look at Lizzo as someone who has just talked about body positivity. Being body positive does not mean that you are a certain weight. Believing in body positivity does not mean that you have to be fat or thin or medium size or short or tall. To me, I look at body positivity as someone that you believe in people being happy with themselves and not being discriminated or mistreated based upon their size and how their body looks. Y'all, I'm let's use our critical thinking caps. You know what I mean? When people are like, oh my God, there are some toxic people in the body positivity world and in that area. And when I mean by toxic, they say, oh, body positive. And I think they connect that sometimes with you having to be plus size. And I'm that's not what that means. That just means not being mistreated again because of your appearance, right? So I absolutely think that like there's room to be body positive, and it's like being a feminist. Like being a feminist just means you believe in the equality of males and females. That is what being a feminist is. It's not necessarily that you're just like so pro women's rights that it's like to hell with everything else. That's not what that means. It just means equality at the end of the day. So I think with all of this like attention on like, oh my God, Lizzo's lost weight, she must be on Ozempic, and I'm like, why do y'all care? Like, she's lost weight. Let's just be happy for her. She's been gone for 2 years. That is more than enough time with someone of Lizzo's wealth to get the trainers that she needs to work out, right? So going back, I think between like people having something to say about her appearance, between the legal battles, like she's been going through it, right? But I will say, y'all, we're actually right back around where we started. There is the Muppet Vision Attraction and Pizza Rizzo's. But I will say that, like, I think that as we age, going back to this point, like even me as someone who is in her late 30s, close to 40, I'm like, the things that we could get away with when we were younger, when you start aging, it just hits you different, right? Like, drop down in the comments and tell me, are there any like lifestyle changes you made because of aging, right? No matter what your age is, you could be someone who's in your late teens, who has recently shifted into their 20s and you made a change. Maybe you're in your 20s, you just shifted into your 30s. Maybe you're in your 40s and you shifted into your 50s. Like, unabashedly, I am, I think, super grateful to even age at all, like to be alive and to be able to have experiences. And I think in order to keep having these experiences at some point, it's like, oh my God, I have to take care of myself, however that looks, right? And for me, like having these walk and talk Wednesdays are important because it's a way of getting me out the house, getting some fresh air, enjoying Disney, but enjoying it with you all, right? And having a great chat. And I mentioned this before, but I just want to put a plug in that if there's ever anything you all want to talk about, like, drop down in the comments. Let me know a topic that you ever want to address for future walk and talks, because I just typically pick a topic of something that's going on at the moment. But we can talk about anything within reason now. Within reason, y'all, because your girl's not trying to get flagged by violating the YouTube guidelines. She's not trying to trouble the YouTube gods out here in these streets, okay? So within reason, I'm always happy to consider any topic, especially if it's around like the topic of aging and like what that looks like when you're thinking about like financial wellness and all that. Not an expert. I can just tell you my opinion based upon my experiences, right? But anywho, it's like, girl, get to the point about Lizzo's music. So as I had mentioned, if you happen to have caught it, Lizzo's SNL performance was fire. If you saw her performance, drop down in the comments, tell me what you think. And while we're at it, y'all, like your girl said, she's trying to hopefully make her dreams come true by one day being a full-time content creator. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, share this video out after it is fully posted. But I also have other walk and talks and of course other content, and partake in my shenanigans. But her SNL performances were stellar. So she has 2 new singles. I Still Bad is one, and she has the other one. I don't know why I'm blanking on the name of the other one, but I did put it in my description. Y'all, both of the singles are good. Still Bad, I gravitate to a little bit more because I think Still Bad gives me It's About Damn Time vibes, like in terms of the rhythm and the beat. It gives me like we're out in the summertime, we're picking ourselves up, we are hanging out, we're on a ride in Southern California. That's part of the reason why I picked this location, because I think, to give you all back a view of Hollywood Studios, y'all look at this. Like, I love Hollywood Studios because it definitely gives me the California vibes. And Still Bad gives me all of the California vibes. So that's what I Absolutely love her second single, Look It Up. It is very guitar heavy. Like, it gives me Prince vibes, and Lizzo being someone who's from Minnesota, who's been inspired a lot by Prince, definitely her second single gives me all the great guitar riffs. And she also, as a part of her mental wellness journey and getting herself together, has expanded her musical prowess. So now she's even been learning guitar and picking that up, and she's a flutist, so she's very musically inclined. I'm not shocked. Like Lizzo, she even played the guitar during one of her SNL performances. I'm not shocked that she is able to pick that up. People who have like that talent and that skill, they can pick up a lot of instruments, right? And again, our girl has had some time to practice. So my whole thing is, I'm super proud that Lizzo is coming out with new music. But my thing is like, girl, you gotta stop hanging out like with your employees. You have to remember who you are. And this is not like that legal issue that Lizzo's going through about being sued by her former backup dancers is not the first time she's found herself wrapped up in some controversy, because what was it, not too long ago, I want to say this was like maybe a few years back, she got in trouble for putting like a DoorDasher on blast over like an innocent mistake. Like, I think she thought, if I can remember correctly, that this DoorDasher like took her food or something, and as it turns out, like the person did not take their food. They were trying to get a hold of her and couldn't. They were like having issues letting her know that the delivery, right? It was something like that, right? And she like put this person on blast online, and of course, you know how some people that are in the fandom, they're way too deep in the fandom, started going off and going crazy and trying to find this person and dox this person. And I'm like, girl, we're going a little bit too far. Like, I think sometimes people who haven't been famous for long forget when they come into fame, especially when they skyrocket into fame like someone like Lizzo so quickly. They forget that like you have a social responsibility. You're influential. You have to be careful how you move and shake. Like, y'all, not that I would ever promote this or do this, but me doxing someone because, let's just say, I didn't like what you said online is going to look a little bit different because I don't have that influence that like a celebrity like a Lizzo would have. Like, your girl hopes to one day be influential in a positive way. But like, even me, I'm not trying to play in court. Your girl, in the words of Alexander Diane Rogers, we don't play in court. So like, if I'm upset at someone for doing something to me, this is going back to like the hostile work environment. And I would say the same thing, that like, if you are ever in a situation where you are dealing with a challenging coworker, a messy ex, a trifling friend, it is in your best interest to just excommunicate yourself and only deal with that person if you absolutely have to. And when I say deal with them, like, our colleagues are our colleagues, right? There is a way you can handle difficult colleagues in the workplace. But again, it's like, I'm not trying to have anyone sue me on this day. So if someone does something that I find problematic, I'm not going to like expose them online in a sense of putting up their number and doing all these crazy things or telling people to attack them. Like, the internet will find you out. Like, if you are behaving badly and you're doing it, especially in front of a camera, that like, people will come for you. That will take care of itself. But I'm not going to encourage violence and encourage people to come after you. And especially as a celebrity, you have to be careful with that. Celebrities like Nicki Minaj has gotten in trouble for this, where it's like you're literally going after people because you're considering them your ops, because they even like, maybe they don't like your song. That's ridiculous. And so Lizzo got in some hot water then because she was like wilding over a DoorDash order. And I'm like, girl, come on now, Lizzo. You are rich and famous. Order you something else. Like, even if the girl, let's just say hypothetically, not that this happened, but let's just say this girl did like take her food or whatever. Melissa Vivian Jefferson, that is Lizzo's name. Girl, if you don't act like the famous person you are and just order you something else, like, come on, girl. You are better than this. Now, Just taking a quick little pause. We are facing the Tower of Terror, which is an incredible ride. It is one of my favorites here at Hollywood Studio, and it's themed after, of course, the Twilight Zone. If you ever find yourself here, like I said, go to Muppet Vision while it's still around, though it's going to be closing very soon. And definitely take yourself a ride on the Tower of Terror. We're also approaching Rock and Roller Coaster, which is another classic, another favorite of mine, which is themed after basically you're someone trying to make it to the Aerosmith concert with the band. And so you all get into your limo and you're just speeding, you're trying to book it. This is a fun ride. And so this is another one that I highly recommend. My actual thumbnail for this conversation is from this ride. It is so cool, y'all. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And given that Lizzo's learning the guitar, I'm like, why not? Like, come over here and end our walk and talk, because it's been 30 minutes, y'all. I cannot believe it. I wanted to end our walk and talk around this area, giving the theme of it all, and given that we're talking about a musician like Lizzo. So as I start to wrap up, I will say, as we're in front of Rock and Roller Coaster, that I think it is super important in anything, y'all. Take my word for it as someone who is close to 40 and has been around the block. It is hard. People will test you and they will push your buttons and they will always have something to say about you. It is all in how you react. And though I side-eye Tyler Perry, I will say one of the quotes Tyler Perry, as Medea has said, is not about what people call you, is what you answer to. And I highly believe that. I think you cannot give people your power, but you also need to be very smart. If you're ever someone that runs your own business, and let's just say you have employees, this is the lesson that I hope Lizzo learns, because I don't believe that she's canceled. I don't really believe in cancel culture anyway, but let's just say that, like, we're really leaning into cancel culture. I'm like, Lizzo's not canceled, but if she keeps doing stupid stuff like this, her career is going to be on the fast decline. So I hope that she learns from everything that has happened, and that she realizes that your employees are your employees. Don't take them out to environments that are going to be uncomfortable. That's part of the case that she had dealt with, was that she had basically invited her dancers out to like these clubs where like the dancers, like kind of like cabarets and performances where, you know, the dancers get nude and all that. Not strip clubs though, because this was in Europe. And there's actual like a performance vibe to it. Not to say that strippers don't perform, but you don't get what I'm saying. Like, there's more theatrics to it. And so these things are fine, but you need to give folks an option to opt out. And that was the thing, is that they felt pressure to engage in acts just to stay in her good favor and goodwill. And that's not cool. That's not right. I do believe her dancers at the end of the day, but I also hope that Lizzo can eventually take some accountability for this, and that she doesn't continue to repeat the same mistakes, right? I do think she deserves to be back on the upswing with her career, and I do think that she will get there. I do, but like, not if she keeps doing stupid stuff. And I think that there's a lesson that we can all learn in this. Like, if you're someone that owns a business, don't fraternize with your employees. You keep that relationship separate. If you're someone that is working, you're employed by someone else, even then, like, be careful hanging out with your coworkers. These are your coworkers. And we spend so much time with our colleagues that it's easy to develop friendships. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but you also have to just be smart about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, not all of your coworkers are friends. And really, even if you develop a friendship, like, these are your colleagues, and you can get yourself in some major trouble, right? So I say all that to say, y'all, just be careful out there, okay? Be smart, be a critical thinker, protect yourself, be careful. Don't add to a hostile work environment, but also, if you find that you're in a situation like that, like, get yourself out of it, report issues, do all that. Who thought that I would be talking about? I went from Lizzo's songs to talking about workplace and environment and etiquette, but I just want to highlight that because that has really been, I think, looming over her and will continue to loom over her until this case is officially over with. And I think some people are giving her a side eye because some people are like, I'm not supporting her. She says she's all about this positivity, and look how she's treating her dancers, right? And that's fair. That's fair for people to say, I don't want to support someone like that. But I also believe in giving people second chances. But you have to apologize and you have to take some ownership, right? So hopefully she will learn from this and she won't keep making the same mistakes. Because otherwise, girl, this will be a very different conversation. We won't be talking about your music. We'll be talking about how we're moving on from you, Lizzo, and investing in other artists. Y'all, with that being said, sorry that my voice is cracking here a little bit. As I said, I've been in meetings. It has been, the past couple weeks have been rough, but I am feeling better. Things are getting better in terms of my stress load and how I'm feeling. So I hope that you also found some joy in this conversation. Again, let your girl know if there are any topics that you ever want to cover in our future walk and talks, let me know. And at this point, with us being over 30 minutes, I actually wanted to see how many miles, give me a minute, y'all. I wanted to see how many miles that we've actually put in my little Samsung Galaxy watch needed to be unplugged. Hopefully it's been actually recording our miles. Okay, y'all, so we have walked, if you walked this whole time with me, we have been on this for, I think that this is the total distance I put in today, but I'm going to say that we've done close to maybe somewhere between 1.5 miles, 2 miles. My tracker is saying 3.5 miles, but I also was doing some walking before I joined this stream. So I think that we've probably done 1.5 miles, closer to 2. So high five there. Thank you for joining me on this walk and talk. We do this every week, so don't forget to give me that thumbs up, subscribe, share all these videos, and I can't wait to catch you on the next journey. See ya. Bye.